So welcome back to this home lab. Let's go back to part one. So in part one, what we did was we created a honeynet which consisted of our Windows and our Linux VM. We opened the network security group to allow attackers to be able to get into our Windows and our Linux VM. And we did this for both, of course, Windows and Linux. And then we ROTP'd into our Windows VM. So this part two, what we are going to do is we are going to, of course, I did not show how we can log in into Linux remotely. So we are going to SSH into our Linux VM. We are just going to turn off the Windows firewall, and we are going to create another VM and simulate an attack on our VMs just to show what we are expecting to happen. And we're going to examine some of the logs that we are going to be seeing that are going to be generated from some of the logs are going to be generated from the simulated attack, and then we are going to leave our honeynet open for 24 hours to see what happens. So let's just go straight to it, and we are in our portal. So we are going to be working with the Linux VM. As you can see, it's stopped. We have to turn this Linux VM on. Okay, so click on it and go to start. Yes. So just wait for it to start, and then we are going to try to log in into it. I'll just start the Windows VM too as well. Let me start the Windows VM too as well, because we are going to be simulating attacks between both of them. So to log in into our Linux, this is what we do. To log into our Linux VM, we just copy the public IP address, go to search, let's go to PowerShell, or you can just search for PowerShell and you run it as an administrator. So we do SSH. The name that we use was test user add. Then we put in the public IP address of the Linux VM and press enter. Put in the password, and that should be it. Great. So right now we are in the Linux VM. As you can see, we now have test user, which is the name that we give to our Linux VM at Linux VM. So we are there. So just to exit, to go out, you can just exit and come out of there. So that was just to show you, since I did not do that in the previous video. So what do we have to do next? We have to turn off the firewall of our Windows VM. So let's RDP into our Windows VM and turn off the firewall. So let's RDP. Putting a password, of course. And yes. Let's wait for it to go. Okay, we are back in this is our Windows VM. So what we want to do is we want to turn off the firewall, to turn off the Windows firewall. No, please don't sign in, please. Okay, so type in wf.msc. I'll open it. It's just a shortcut to turn off. Oh, wow. Did I do this already? The Windows firewall is already off. It seems like I turned this off. I turned this off already. Anyway, I just click on Windows Defender Firewall Properties. If you have this on, so just turn them off. This off, private profile. Make sure you turn this off. Turn off the public profile. Turn it off, and then click apply, click OK. That's just how to do it. So it seems like I did this already. I didn't know. Anyway, let's move forward to the next thing. So what do we have to do next? So right now we want to simulate an attack on our honeynet. We want to simulate an attack on our honeynet. So we are going to create another virtual machine, and then we are just going to try to log in into our virtual machines, like just to just fill the login. And after that, we're going to examine the logs of what we find. Okay, so let's come back to virtual machines. To create a new virtual machine, click create the Azure virtual machines. Just do it like the same as we did last time. The resource scope is going to be the Honey Lab. I just put this as an attack, an attacker virtual machine. Let's change the region. Let me use um another region to simulate an attack coming from somewhere else. Let's use France. Ah, France, too friendly. Let's use not Europe. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to use East US. And what we want is the Windows 10 Pro, of course. The username. I'm just going to use the same username. Put in our password. Put in our password. Yep. Confirm you have the rights. Let's go to where it doesn't really matter anyway. If I allow this being on its own virtual network, let's just click on review and create. Give it some time for it to create. And then we are going to start attacking. So validation passed. As the validation is passed, now we create. So I'm going to cut the video here and bring it back when the deployment is finished. Okay, and we are back. Our deployment is complete. Let's go back to the virtual machines and let's try to RODP into our virtual machine. Let's RODP into our virtual machine, and we're going to use it to simulate an attack on our VM. Use a different account. I was test user. Then we input the password. And yes, I have to go through the installation again. Just like a normal Windows installation. Just wait for it to do this thing. So what we are going to do is this attack VM is going to be we are going to act as like an attacker. We're going to be an attacker that is going to attack our VMs. Just as, let's say, attackers are always trying to brute force into our systems to gain access, but we are going to simulate it. And then we're going to look at the logs from what we just simulated. And we'll do the same for the Windows and do the same for the Linux. And then we are going to actually open our VMs, leave our VMs on so that it can be found by attackers and attackers can try to get access to them. And then we'll come back again and look at the logs. So that's the idea. Just want to show you what it might look like when an attacker tries to access our systems. Be patient, but to do his thing. It does take a while. I think I might have to cut the video here and bring it back on. Oh, okay. I need to cut the video. Let's just turn this off. I don't think I need this. Accept. And just wait for it to connect. Okay, now we are in. So this is our attack uh, machine. What we are going to use to attack the VM. So of course, let's try to do that. This thing is still trying to get to its senses. Let's just give it some time. Okay. This RDP. Let's try to RDP into our Windows. Click cancel RDP into our Windows machine. Is this our Windows password? I don't think so. I mean our Windows IP address, public IP. Oh yes, this is it. So our Windows public IP address. Let's go back. Let's put it in. Try to connect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill 2 times with the wrong credential. And I'm going to actually pass the authentication once for you to see to simulate an attack. So let's use a name. Let's say Frank. And let's use a bad password. Okay. So that's 1 time. Let's try again. Frank, let's use another bad password. Let's just do it 2 times. Good. And now let's actually log in using our real account username and password. That was test user. And then the password. Let's put in the real password. So I'm sure this is going to go through. Nice. So we are in. So let's do the same to our Linux VM. Let's try to attack the Linux VM and see what happens. So I'm just going to end this connection. Yep, end this connection. And let's do the same for our Linux VM. Let's go to PowerShell. Run as administrator. What is the, let me see. Yes, this is it. Need to grab the public IP address of our Linux VM. So of course, SSH, test user, and paste in the public IP address of the Linux VM. Let's see what happens. Nothing is happening. Okay, let's try this again. The connection timed out. Are you sure this VM is still on? Oh wow. So we made an error. I was trying to take this and I instead took the, of course, it could not recognize this because you cannot SSH into a Windows computer. You can only SSH into a Linux computer. That was an error on my part. Exactly. These things can happen. But let's do it again. But this time I hope this is the right one. Yes, we accept the fingerprinting. I'll put in, let's put in the wrong password for test user. Let's put in the wrong password again for test user. And let's put in the real password for test user. Great. As you can see, we are in. So we have successfully simulated an attack because we failed. We tried to brute force our way with the Linux VM, and we did the same with the Windows VM. So now we can close this connection. It's no longer needed. So what we have to do now is let's check and see. Okay, so now we can examine the logs that came out of that. Let's try to examine the logs. So to examine the logs, let's go back to our Windows VM, the one that was attacked. I'm sure this is it. Let's try to log into our Windows VM. This, the one that we are attacking, not the attacker VM, the Windows VM. So let's connect to that. So now we view the logs that the system has created. Nice. I don't think I need this attacker VM anymore. So I'm just going to stop it so that I don't waste money. I don't even think I need the Linux VM anyway, but we have to leave it for 24 hours at the end, so it's okay. So let's look at the logs. To look at the logs for Windows, we need to go to event viewer, click on event viewer, open it. So this is where all of the events that happen in Windows are being logged. It's where they are being logged. So we can actually look for, let me just maximize this. We can actually look for anything that has happened in here. So let's go to Windows logs. Windows logs under security. And just try to find out what just happened. Let's see the 2 times that we actually failed. Let's see a logon here. Let's check this and see. So let's keep searching. Log on, log off. Okay, so I see an audit failure. Yes, this is it. So we tried to log in with Frank. See, it failed. It's failed. Login failure. The audit failure, 4625 is the event ID of this. And we see Frank again here, which failed 2 times. So Frank failed 2 times. This 2 failed, and then we had a successful logon here. Now it's Windows, account name was test user, and so these are the logs. Whenever logs are generated, they are stored in the event viewer under security. And that is for people trying to log into the system. So now that we have done this, we have to check the one for the Linux VM. Let's log into our Linux VM. Let's go into our Linux VM to try to look at the logs for Linux. So of course we have to do SSH, not SH, please, SSH. Yes, user, and put in the password. I'm sorry, the public IP address. And then we put in our password to get in. So remember we looked at the logs for the VM, the virtual machine of the Windows. Now it's time to look at the logs for the Linux VM. So we do cd /var // let's say log. So just take a look at what is inside here by writing ls command. So we see that we have what we will have an auth.log. So this is where the logs are being stored. So to look at the auth log, what we can do is cat auth.log. So it just dumps all of this information on us. Looking at this is not easy. Like I can see failed password for this by anyway. If we want to get a list of all of the passwords that have been any password that has been it looks for password, we want to grab the password name, like just single out, filter out the password. All we can do is we can do cat log, and we can grep. We can grep password. So when we do this, at least we narrow down the search to look for the field and the ones that we got right. So we have two fields. I'm sure these are the things that we filled. These are the passwords that the login information that we filled when we're trying to simulate an attack. Yeah, failed, and then accepted. This other field. I didn't do this. I'm assuming we're already having people are already trying to put forth this. I'm assuming because I did not do this. We have a name here called FTP. Anyway, the next video we're going to be looking at this better. Okay, so this is where we end for today. And the last thing that we have is we're going to leave our honeynet open for 24 hours and then come back to see what has happened. So that's going to be it for today. We're going to come back, see after 24 hours. People are actually going to struggle to attack this. People are going to struggle to attack our virtual machines. We are going to see like live attacks of people who are like struggling to brute force their way into our Windows and our Linux VM. So we already had a sneak peek of that already, but in the next video, we are going to be taking a closer look at that. And then we are going to be doing forwarding of the logs to log analytics using Azure in Azure. So see you tomorrow. I'll see you next time.